Well, as many of us know, this weekend coming up is a long weekend for most of us. It's Labor Day weekend. But have you really thought about the history of Labor Day? How it started, what it's looked like over the years, what's changed, and, how things could look for the future? Well, you also know that one Charlie Sakaitis is a history buff, so he's done some digging, he's put together the research, and he knows all of the history now of what's going on with Labor Day weekend. So we'll let him take it from here, and let's dive into a little history lesson for you.
Labor Day, what's it all about? Well, it's more than just a day off on the first Monday in September. It's more than the start of fall, the beginning of school, and the start of football. Labor Day is, after all, for the workers, the laborers. For the most part, we're talking about people with manufacturing jobs, construction jobs, farmhands, cleaners, and more. The people who do physical and usually hard work. It's a celebration of the achievements of the American worker, and it has got a long history. Labor activists pushed for a federal holiday of this kind all the way back in the late 19th century. And before it was a federal holiday, it was a local one. Some municipalities as early as 1885 pushed the idea. States like New York, Oregon, Colorado, Massachusetts, and New Jersey were all early adopters. In fact, more than half the country, including Delaware and Maryland, joined the fray before Grover Cleveland made it an official nationwide holiday in 1894. There is a bit of a dispute over who actually started the Labor Day push. It's generally between two men, Matthew McGuire and Peter McGuire. They weren't related, but they were both supporters of the working class, and both of them were on hand for the nation's very first Labor Day parade in New York City. A lot has changed in the more than 120 years since the federalization of Labor Day. In the early 20th century, America saw the rise of labor movements, unions, and the fight for better wages, shorter hours, and safer conditions. And you've got to remember the standard at the time: low wages, 60-hour work weeks, dangerous jobs, and no social safety net. But as America made its way through the Great Depression and a pair of world wars, those early efforts started to pay off. The New Deal era of America ushered in the Fair Labor Standards Act, creating the minimum wage, the 40-hour work week, and setting the stage for labor protections. Unions also gained power in the mid-20th century, and that's often credited with stronger negotiating power, better wages, and even benefits, things like pensions and health insurance for the working class. This graph from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities shows that from the 30s to the 50s, wealth inequality actually declined, and then it stayed somewhat flat until around 1980. When, according to data from the Congressional Budget Office, things started changing. Wages for the bottom 90% started to stagnate. Wealth inequality started to grow at a rapid pace, a trend that's continued all the way to present day. Here now in 2025, wealth inequality between the rich and the poor is again similar to the inequality of the late 1920s. Minimum wage purchasing power is at a near 70-year low, and a brand new technology, artificial intelligence, is also changing every field in ways we don't quite yet understand. So where do things go from here? Well, that's really for the politicians, the voters, and the corporations to decide. But in the meantime, if you get the day off, enjoy it, and keep labor in mind. Remember, they're the ones that keep this whole thing called America going.
Oh, fascinating little history there. See, you learn something new every day. And maybe you've already done a little learning this week, or maybe you're doing more of your learning next week as the kids go back to school. It's that time. It's that time of year. And as we've been preparing you for back to school, we're also going to be chatting with a local lunch lady when we get back, because I think there's sort of an unsung hero when we think back to school. That's on the way.